Hi folks, I'm Andy from Mantic Games, and in this video I'm going to show you how shooting works in Halo Flashpoint. In Halo Flashpoint, the members of your fire team are equipped with all kinds of ranged weapons, such as assault rifles, DMRs, needlers, and cinder shots. Shooting them at your enemies couldn't be easier. We check the range of the weapon, we check to see if we can see the target, and then we shoot. As explained previously, the shoot action is a short action, which means you can take another short action either before or after the shot. Maybe you want to crouch down first to be steady in the shot and give you a bonus, or maybe you want to shoot your target, take down their shields before moving in for the kill with your close combat weapon. Shooting is very effective, but using it wisely is where the tactical decision making really comes to life. First of all, we look to ensure our weapon is in range of our target, and checking this is just as simple as movement. If we take a look at our model's profile card, we can see what the range of the weapon we're using is. In this instance, it says R4, which means it has a range of 4 cubes. We count the number of cubes from your shooting model to the location of your target model, starting with the cube directly in front, and taking the shortest path, we count up to the cube the target model is located in. If the number of cubes is equal to or less than the range number of the weapon, you're in range. Next, we look to see if your model can see its target and check the line of sight, or as it's often abbreviated to, LOS. In Halo Flashpoint, a model that you're trying to draw line of sight to can be in one of 2 states. It can either be seen or not seen. It's that simple. Now, some models may have large weapons or be posed in a dynamic way which makes their overall area larger. So to ensure that we don't penalise some cool looking models, we use a hitbox. This is an area the width of the model's base and the height to the top of the model's head, or torso if that's higher. Parts like arms and weapons that extend outside of this area are not considered to be visible, and in a real world situation, a model will be able to look around or move to get a good view of their target, so we simulate that in this way. Line of sight can be taken from and to any part of the model that is within this hitbox. Get down to the table and look at your enemy from the point of view of your model, and if you can see it, you can shoot it. So your weapon is in range, you can see your enemy. Now this is where it gets interesting. Here we introduce dice tests to the game. Some actions and some game events require a dice roll to determine the success or failure, and to do this we roll 8-sided dice, or D8s as they're also known. These rolls are called tests and are always written in a standard format so that you know how many dice to roll in the test, the target number that you need to equal or beat, and the minimum number of successes you require to make this test a success. For example, in a shoot action, we have a 3-dice range test X test. This shows that we need to roll 3 dice. It's a range test, so we need to consult the RA stat on our shooting model, and the X tells us that this is a roll against our opponent rather than a target number of successes. And so we need more successes than our opponent to make the shot a success. Let's run through this scenario where our Spartan Mark 7 is shooting his MA-40 assault rifle at our opponent's Spartan Brawler. We can see his weapon has a range of R4, so we know that we're within range. We can see the Brawler, so we know we can shoot them. So now we need to roll 3 D8 dice, and we need to roll more successful dice against the RA ranged attack stat of 4+ than our opponent rolls against their SV stat of 5+. So we start with 3 D8 dice, needing 4, 5, 6, 7s or 8s to count as successes. Now there are some modifiers that can change the number of dice we roll in a shoot test, depending upon the conditions in play. Here we can see that our Mark 7 Spartan is at a higher elevation than the Brawler, and so we gain a bonus extra die to our dice pool, taking it up to 4 dice. Not only can we see the Brawler, but we can see all of the model. There are no parts of the model behind any cover, and we have completely unobstructed view of the target. And so we gain another bonus of 2 more dice, taking our total in the dice pool up to 6 D8 dice. If we'd chosen to crouch as our first short action, this would have steadied our shot and given us another bonus die, taking us up to 7 dice. However, we didn't, so a total of 6 dice it is. Sometimes keywords on your model or their weapons may also increase this dice pool further, so make sure to check those too. The other possible modifier to the number of dice we roll is if we are shooting at an opponent who is in the same cube as one of our friendly fire team models. There's a real chance in the heat of battle we could hit our own model, and so to represent this, you would lose 2 dice from your dice pool. However, again, that's not the case here, so we are rolling 6 dice in total against our RA stat of 4+. Our opponent needs to try and see if they can dive out of the way of our fire, so they roll against a target survive test named 3 dice survive test X, which shows that they will roll 3 dice against their SV stat, which is 5+, and they need more successes than we get to successfully avoid the incoming fire. There's also one modifier that could have helped the brawler, and that is if they'd been in the crouch state. They would have become a smaller target and so would have gained an extra bonus D8 die to their 3 dice pool, but alas, that isn't the case for the Pugo Brawler. Both players roll their dice pools and check to see if any of the keywords on their profile card change any of the outcomes. In this case, the MA40 assault rifle of the Spartan Mark 7 has a keyword called Weight of Fire 1, which allows him to re-roll 1, because of the number in the brackets, of his unsuccessful dice. He re-rolls it and gets a 2, another miss. We remove the misses and compare the total number of successful rolls they each got. The Mark 7 got 5 successes and the Brawler got 2 successes. However, one of the Mark 7's dice was an 8. And in this game, that maximum number is called a headshot and gives you an additional die to roll. He rolls a 6, which is another success, and so adds this to the successful hits pile, totaling them up to 6. Had he rolled another 8 with this additional die, this would have counted as both a success and a headshot and created another bonus die, and that would continue until no more 8s were rolled. We now compare the difference between the Mark 7 and the Brawler's successes, and we can see that the Mark 7 has 4 more successes. The Mark 7 has successfully hit the Brawler, and now we allocate those 4 hits. Had the Brawler had more successes than the Mark 7, or it was a tie, then no hits would be taken, and the shoot action would end. However, in this case, the Brawler is about to take 4 hits. The first 2 hits we allocate to the Brawler's shields, which we show have been breached by flipping the tokens to the red side. We can see the Brawler has an armour of 2, which would negate 2 points of damage. We check the MA40 rifle for any armour penetration on its ammo, and the line here tells us that it does not have any, and so those 2 hits ping off the Brawler's armour. The Brawler takes no damage, but has lost their shields, leaving them vulnerable to another attack. Had the Mark 7 had more successes, they would have begun to do damage to the Brawler, reducing their HP down by 1 for each extra hit that went through. In this case, the Brawler is still standing to finish the fight, and at the start of the next round, one of their shields will regenerate and help their defences in the next round of combat. If they'd reached 0 HP remaining, the model would be removed from the battlefield. You would clear any wound markers it had, restoring it to full health, and replenish its energy shields back to active. You would then place this model on its stat card, and if it had been activated already this turn, place its activated token next to it so that it is clear whether it is still able to activate this turn or not. Next time it's eligible to activate, your model will respawn into battle. Place it next to one of the respawn markers of your colour. You can choose which one. Its first action must be a short advance action onto the board, with the first cube of movement being into the cube directly in front of the respawn token. You can't enter diagonally. You can then continue your turn as normal. And that's how shooting works. Join me in the next video where we'll go over how assaulting with close combat weapons work.